Before we get into the Fusion XYZ Festival, I just want to do a quick survey almost for some feedback. I just want to know, for those of you that have been with me for a while, watched my previous videos on festivals and stuff, have those decks and or videos helped you? And if you could leave in the comment section like what decks you've used that I've recommended before, which ones did you craft, how successful did you find it, and for what events. And the reason is because for those of you that are new as well, you can see here, we don't play that many festival duels, but when we do play them, we finish them relatively efficiently and quickly, and we do so with a decent win rate. This is a 70% win rate more or less. And the decks that I recommend for you in my videos are a combination of what's a budget option as well as what can hopefully deal with what's going to be the top deck and or the meta of that event. And so because of that, again, you're not crafting the most expensive best deck, but even if you did, you can't expect to win every match. But we try our best to kind of find that balance for you. But yeah, let me know what you think and or have used in the past. But let's go ahead and get into today's video. Alright, in this RIKKA matchup here, I think we won the coin toss. Yes, we did, and we're going first. Dark Magician, Pharaoh Atem. I assume he's on Dark Magician, which, like I said, is a decent deck for this event. Our hand, though, is susceptible to interruption given that we drew all monsters. We do have ways to extend and end on a board at least, but if we did get interrupted, we'd be in trouble. But you can see here, the combos are fairly standard, just like regular mode. Normal summon Princess, search Mudan, grab Concon, grab Glamour, go ahead and grab Primula and Princess, and then those XYZ into the RIKKA Queen, grab back the Glamour, and then we just set Glamour as a bluff and pass. So we have Ash Interruption, Princess Engrave, and then Sacred Tree Beast if we're able to tribute off the Strenna. The opponent reveals perfect Dark Magician, they grab Timaeus, and then they normal summon Magician's Rod. We're going to Ash that to prevent the getting of Circle, because Circle does beat us. Dark Magical Circle does beat us here, so we absolutely need to make sure the opponent does not get that. They're going to go ahead and use Magician's Souls to grab back the Dark Magician, and we're going to negate the Timaeus by tributing that Dark Magician with our Princess and returning it to the deck. The opponent has Monster Reborn, which they're able to use on their Dark Magician here, so we know Timaeus in hand, and I think that's it. Okay, and then they just reveal Red Eye Soul to grab the Meteor, so that's fine. We got Princess here. We're going to start off by activating Concon to grab the Flurries, which will force the opponent to tribute. We then use Petal Effect to grab Mudan, and then we're going to go ahead and normal summon Lone Fire, activate RIKKA Glamour, tributing the Petal, and getting the Strenna combo basically. And because we tributed one of our cards, the opponent was forced to tribute one of theirs, and they opt to tribute the Meteor Dragon. That's the effect of Flurries there. Then we're going to go ahead and have Lone Fire tribute itself to bring out a Borea, and then use Concon's effect on the Dark Magician when we try to special summon out the Snowdrop, getting a Mudan, which will grab us a sheet there, and then go into a Teardrop by making everything level 8 thanks to the Snowdrop effect. Then we're going to go Battle Phase, attack with Borea, attack with Strenna, attack with the Queen, and then tribute the Strenna Queen so that we can bring out the Sacred Tree Beast and boost our attack. And just like that, now the Sacred Tree Beast can attack for game. And yeah, RIKKA's got OTK plays too. And it's easy to combo with this deck. But like I said, you do have to be wary of Maxi. But let's go ahead and take a look at another quick match. So the next deck I want to show you is actually RIKKA in its pure form without the Sun Avalon engine. This deck, if you have it, is actually very good for the event. It does suffer a little bit from back row removal because in this version you probably want to play the RIKKA Flurries, which I think is a decent card, but you also rely on like your Imperms, obviously your Field Spell, and your Trap cards. And so if you get Dustered, it can be very devastating, or Lightning Stormed as well, right? You also still have the trouble of playing through Max C, but you still play the negates in the Called Bys and the Crossouts. But essentially your list wants to be 3 RIKKA Petal, 3 Max C, 3 Lone Fire Blossom, 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Primula the RIKKA Fairy, 3 RIKKA Princess, 2 Mudan, 2 Snowdrop, you can get away with 1, 1 Hellbore, just another level 8 target as well, 1 Therion Lily Borea. Now the whole Therion package is legal, so if you wanted to play the Therion package for the negate with the Disc Coliseum and the Regulus, you could do that. 100% up to you, and you can run like 3 Borea if you wanted as well. 1 Duster, 1 Pot of Avarice. Now this is a weird choice, but RIKKA burns through its engine so quickly that sometimes having this in your deck, if you have it in your opening hand or you draw into it, can actually help you a lot in recycling your extra deck monsters and your monsters in the graveyard, so that you can kind of just keep comboing through the turns if you get into the grind game. But you can play 2 of this, you can play 0, it's not needed. It's probably a bad choice to be honest, but I've noticed that if you get into the grind game with RIKKA, sometimes you just run out of gas because there's nothing left in your deck or extra deck, and you just lose. So this gives you potentially a way out if you do run into that, where you can recycle your resources. 3 RIKKA Glamour, 3 RIKKA Con instead of 2, just because, you know, you can afford to play 3 now. 1 RIKKA Flurries, which again is a surprisingly decent card in this event, given the lower power of the event, and the fact that this forces your opponent to tribute a monster. It can be very strong in helping to out cards on the opponent's board. And then the double call by the 1 crossout, triple imperm, and I am opting to run 1 RIKKA Tranquility and 1 RIKKA Sheet. These traps are good in and of themselves, but the fact that you can combo them with the RIKKA Con to tribute your opponent's monsters for cost just gives you extra utility for these traps that wouldn't normally be used, right? And then the extra deck, we got 1 Sylvan Princess Sprite. Not that you'd really make this, but I guess you could make it with 2 RIKKA Petals. Just looking for whatever random level 4 XYZ monsters that you can make. So number 50 Black Ship, number 41 Baguska, and then of course the 2 Strenna. 1 Kanzashi, since you know you might end up getting 2 Mudins on field, or Mudin and Snowdrop, and you might want to make everything level 6, so you just have a level 6 option there. Aurea is a target off of the tribute of Rikka, and same with number 87, although you can technically make this with 3 level 8s because of the Snowdrop, but you don't want to do that. 2 Alsays, you really only need 1 though, 2 Teardrop, and 1 Sacred Tree Beast. You can opt to play 2 of this for sure. And then 1 Zeus, which is not normally played, but you have the room, so why not have a Zeus? If you're not plant locked, you can go into this and wipe the board. It is very helpful. But let's go ahead and take a look at how Rikka did in the event. Whoops, we actually didn't want to save there, but that's okay. We'll make the edits later. So in this matchup here, we also won the coin toss, and our opening hand is actually pretty good, assuming we don't get negated. So we're going to start off with a Con, which is probably a mistake. I probably should have started off with a normal summon Petal and see if they would have negated that, but I don't want them to negate the Petal anyways. We still go for a Mudon, which is questionable. We grab another copy of Con, set Sheet with the Con on the field, use Glamour to grab Princess and Primula, of course, and then go into the Strenna play. So as long as the opponent doesn't have back row removal, because we are going to have like a full back row setup here, which is really good, we should be totally fine. But because we went ahead and we grabbed the Con as assurance or insurance, we should be able to recover if the opponent does indeed have like a Lightning Storm or a Duster, and sure enough they have Duster, and they're chaining Forbidden Droplet to negate the Strenna, which actually doesn't do anything. They're going to go ahead and attempt to Lunalight Fusion, which, because I control a monster or someone from the extra deck, they can use their monsters from their deck as material, I believe, and so that enables us to use Ash on it. Then they're going to attempt to normal summon and activate the effect of Emerald Bird here, and of course we are going to shuffle back the Princess, tributing the Strenna to negate that. So this guy clearly doesn't know that Strenna doesn't do anything on the field, so why waste your Droplet on it? And we're just tributing it off anyways for the Princess in order to bring up the Sacred Tree Beast. And these are like diamond opponents that I'm facing here in the event, so they're not necessarily complete noobs. But yeah, they're going to go ahead and get their monster negated and then just end on that. And then once they see us activate Petal to bring back, they just scoop. And that is how good I'm not Pearly, geez, this guy has the Pearly Avatar and name is Pearly, but that's how good Rikka can be against the meta. Alright, in this matchup here, I believe we won the coin toss and opted to go second. Yes, sir. And we've got double Ash, a Tactics, a Starter, and a Pixie, so that's not good. However, the opponent starts off with normal summon Lone Fire Blossom, and I'm like, if that's your normal summon, and I know how Rikka works, if that's what you're on, given, you know, your avatar, your sleeves, etc., I'm going to go ahead and Ash that, because that is going to probably end your turn right there, because Rikka needs cards on the field in order to extend. Sure enough, they are on Rikka, and there's nothing else they can do here. So now at this point, I'm like, 1 Ash opens up the field. Now we can OTK, even top decking the Foolish Burial. So we're going to attempt to bait an Ash here with, yeah, and sure enough we do. If the opponent has Maxi, it probably doesn't matter, but we do have an Ash for that. Once they see Starter, they just scoop. They probably know it's an OTK. So Starter into Blue, Blue into Jet, Jet into Gamma Burst, and then Special Summon Pixies from hand. That's game right there. Right, super simple, super easy. We could also extend it to Gigantic, bring more stuff out, but what's the point? We just OTK right there. Very easy match. If you have access to the Sprite engine, you can make a very interesting going second OTK build of Sprite, and you can also go first with this, setting up negates too. But just because you don't have access to Elf or any Link monsters doesn't mean this deck isn't viable, because again, the overall power level of the event is lower, so decks like Sprite, which are inherently very powerful, do benefit a lot just in and of itself for the engine being a strong engine. So my deck list is 2 Effect Veiler, the small Frog package, which isn't nearly as useful because you don't have Elf to bring back Swap Frog and redump, but Dupe Frog, Swap Frog, Ronin Tonin, Triple Maxi, Double Angler still despite no Sprint, 3 Nimble Beaver, double Sprite Blue, 1 Sprite Jet, double Sprite Pixies, double Sprite Red, and double Sprite Carrot. These are just free special summons if you have them in hand. Free extenders, gets you into your Gigantic, so why not play more of them? Triple Ash Blossom, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Raigeki, 1 Duster, 1 or 2 Lightning Storms, and 1 Foolish Burial for the Nimble Angler instead of the Sprint. And then 2 Triple Tactics Talent and double Sprite Starter. This is your OTK option, so you might want to play 2, but 1 should hopefully be enough because when you're using this, you're expecting to win the game. Sprite can still win without it, but hopefully you don't end up fizzling on this because this is an easy win con for you. 1 Sprite Smasher to deal with pesky things that you need to remove that can't be targeted or destroyed or something like that, and then triple Imperm. The extra deck, there's only a few cards that matter in here, but Herald of Pure Light doesn't matter. Djinn Buster probably won't matter. Sky Cavalry matters, you want him because this is an easy access to Zeus. 1 Cat Shark, not 2. This card doesn't matter, number 45. This card probably doesn't matter, the Phantom Knight's Cursed Javelin. Double Mannequin Cat, you can opt to play 1, but I needed space to fill, so I just put in 2. 1 Onibimaru, this card is very helpful in removing a threat and allowing you to OTK. Because this stays on the field and the threat that you target gets removed, so you can still get the power boost off of Gamma Burst from this, even though it takes 2 monsters to make. If you out a big threat, it's still worth it, and you can likely still OTK because with Gamma Burst you only need 3 level 2 bodies usually in order to OTK. Double Gigantic Sprite, if I had the third I'd probably play it because this is your main card to go into and extend with, and then these cards don't really matter. E-Pearly Beauty doesn't really matter in this deck. But you definitely want to play a downward into Zeus because everything in here, as long as you're not too locked under like Starter or Gigantic, you'll go downward into Zeus and just wipe the board if you had a hard time playing through it. So you got a lot of options for board wipes, and the deck is actually very fast to play and easy to just out all of the opponent's stuff if they go first, and then just OTK them very quickly going second. But let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of matches. Alright, in this one here, this is a pretty decent hand as well. I lost his coin toss and the opponent wanted to go first, so there's a number of decks in here that do want to go first, which is good for you. They're using the Lunalight deck, so yeah, we have Dark Hole, we have Max C, it's going to be pretty hard for them to play through this. So as soon as they activate the card to special summon, we're going to Max C, and now we're going to be able to draw. The opponent still ends up special summoning, but they just end on Redoer, so I'm pretty sure that Max C tempered them a bit and they only gave us to draw 2, but that's still good enough for us. They make a mistake there and don't activate the trigger effect and activate the actual effect to detach, but this is why Lunalight can be good. They're going to be able to get the search after the card goes to the graveyard with the Dark Hole, but we don't care about that because any follow-up you get doesn't matter, because as you can see here, this is game in and of itself. I was debating not BMing, but just going for more challenges, but I'm like, nah, let me just end the game. And you can see just how lethal this can be. This is basically what the deck does. It's super fast. You have hand traps to slow down your opponent, weaken their board if they go first turn 1, and you have board breakers like Lightning Storm to clear out back row, and then you just do something like this. You just really need 1 extender and you can put up a 3 monster board and then OTK through the Gamma Burst. In this final match, it was a little bit longer, but our opening hand isn't great by any means, but our winning condition is basically drawing a decent out and or getting into Gigantic. The opponent is on Blue Eyes, and I'm like, okay, this should be manageable. And I believe these were Plat opponents at the time here. Yes, they are Platinum opponents here. So, Blue Eyes is a half-decent deck for this event. We are bricked, so we just end up setting. And the opponent has Twin Twisters. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. But thankfully, we do have the ability to use both of our cards. So Starter grabs blue, and the Imperm negates the Dictator of D. So blue is going to go ahead and search out Jet, of course. Now they bring back Jet Dragon because Twin Twister is destroyed, and they just bounce back the card to hand, the set card, and then just attack direct and beat over the blue in defense mode. So we draw a Gamma Burst, which is very interesting. Our Tactics talent here, unfortunately, is not really going to do anything since none of these monsters effects really activate in the main phase, but this is why Smashers is good. Jet Dragon makes it so things can't be destroyed really, so we're just going to banish it and get rid of it right there. The opponent opted not to use Dictator of D effect. It didn't matter because they're not going to negate us, so we would just take 1,000 damage but not actually get spun back into, or destroyed by attacking into the Blue Eyes. But yeah, the opponent, I guess, attempts to use Cross out there because they don't want to get it wiped, but it doesn't matter. They're going to set a card which was an Imperm, and we just end up Zeusing it away, and we still have 2 materials on the Zeus. So this is where, the Sprite deck can really shine. It's very, very fast, very easy. Did I need to go through this? I think so. So I wasn't BMing or anything. But since there's only 1 Jet and it's already been used, we got to go for Pixies here. And Pixies is more than enough damage at 2,800 to finish it off there. And just like that, Sprite, once again, showing how quick it can be. Despite me saying it was a longer match, yeah, you can see how effective it is.